My name is Megan, and I am one half of Supe.
And my name is Sam, and I'm the other half of Supe.
And kind of trying to break it down a little bit. I do a little bit of the artwork, and Sam does more like music. And together we both do apparel, accessories, and things like that.
Yeah.
Take it back a little bit. We were both adopted from Peru. I was adopted from Cusco.
And I was adopted from Ica.
And so the artwork kind of started more of me just trying to kind of piece together some kind of history to kind of help me understand where I'm at right now. I feel like there's kind of always been this like kind of hole in my chest of not really knowing where I come from, or like the traditions, and seeing other people around me who are able to uphold these traditions from grandparents and parents. And so for me, having Caucasian parents and kind of being raised in Minnesota, not really having that diverse amount of people to really teach me these things. So I guess it kind of started there. I'm trying to kind of gather this information and research, and kind of trying to craft together all of these collages. And I really like doing collages when I was a kid. So kind of taking pieces apart and putting them together has been really cool. So I'd say that's where it started.
Yeah. So I guess what inspires me with my artwork is I haven't necessarily. I guess I don't necessarily research as much as in terms of just trying to figure out like facts and stuff. I kind of just go more with the flow in terms of what I find cool and unique about where I come from. I don't necessarily have the drive to be that analytical with my interpretation of the past of the Incan civilization. And I think my goal is to just really bring the beauty that I find in that civilization to this kind of modern palette of interests. And my forms of media are music and design. But with music, I guess one of my goals is to try and utilize that kind of the sounds like the pan flutes or the sound of the rainforest to really give it that spin of Incan ancestry with like modern electronic music. So that's kind of my focus.
It's more kind of for the collage. It's just I'll be scrolling through a lot of different pictures. Some of them are from pictures I took. Some of them are from like stock pictures or things that I've seen. And usually I kind of am already feeling a certain way, like upset or happy or mad or anything. And when I see a picture and it kind of sparks, and then I just start kind of adding to that and taking things away and erasing things. And it's really nice to do that. But I think like what Sam was saying earlier, I'm more like super detail oriented when it comes to like, where is this picture coming from? Is it from Cusco? Okay, then do I want a picture from, do I want to add flowers in there that are from the Cusco area? Do I want to add people who are specifically from that area? And so I get a little bit more detailed and like more analytical. And what I love about Sam is because, what I love about you is because you are able to kind of like take me back and just be like, okay, yes, that might make sense, but kind of what really looks good, and instead of me getting so caught up in these tiny details. So I'd say Sam really helps me kind of draw it that way too. What is
I think electronic artists like IO really inspires me because of how sleek his playing style is. He knows what he is. And he's very minimalistic with his beats, and he just conveys such a cool flow. And I love that. It feels so effortless, and that's something that I truly am inspired by. And obviously, I'm not him, and his style isn't me. So my style is definitely a little bit more. I don't even know how you describe it in terms of just like where I come from, my roots, what inspires me. But whatever that is, if there's an audio form of that, that would be me. So trying to enhance that every song and every track that I make is one of the goals that I want to accomplish.
It's hard being adopted to an extent when, I guess an example would be we had an art show the other day, and people were coming by, and a lot of people were speaking in Spanish and trying to kind of understand what we were doing. And it's hard not to be able to speak in Spanish for one thing, but I want to be able to at least tell them what I'm doing and what the artwork kind of means to me and how I'm piecing it together. Because for me, it's kind of like piecing together this duality, this kind of past atmosphere that I'm not really quite sure about, that I want to learn about, with how I'm feeling right now, and this futuristic kind of imprint that I want to see kind of happen or merge together. So that's what
Yeah.
and then I guess that kind of just ties into, for me it's kind of more and maybe for you too, just more like fitting in, I guess, maybe with my own kind of people to an extent, because it is kind of hard being the oddball, but I do it at the same time too, because I suppose that's kind of what gives me the emotion or the drive to kind of do this, is to kind of inspire like people who don't really have a place and are just kind of trying to make sense of all of these three things, like the past, the present, and the future. And yeah, just try to make sense of it all.
Yeah. People in Peru who are there, I guess my message to them would just be keeping keep passing down those traditions. If I wasn't adopted and I was down there, I know that that's what I would be doing.
It's interesting because when I talk to my birth parents, I feel as if I'm some kind of like a problem solver, and it is really hard because I'll give some kind of solution that I think might help or might work, but there's always this big huge pushback. I guess an example would be I called my dad on FaceTime one time, or Facebook Messenger video, and he had a hat on and he was in bed, and my mom was like covered up and she had a hat on in bed, and I was like, in my head, why don't you just get a heater? So I sent my sister down money to get them a heater, and I was talking to somebody here in New York, and they were just kind of like, well, maybe understand that that's how they've lived their entire life. So you getting them a heater is a little weird. But I guess for me, it's kind of the simple solution. So my message down there too is to be, it's hard, right? Because you want to stick to, it's good to stick to traditions, but also just to be open-minded to things that that might help preserve traditions, and help you work on things a little bit faster, do things in other ways, maybe not faster, maybe just being able to do things in other ways that would benefit you also in the long run.
That's the cool. That's the symbiotic relationship of like people maybe who are more with the mindset of us compared to them with the mindset of theirs.
Yeah.
They're balanced in the way that they're able to keep that tradition. Maybe obviously generalizing them. Some are probably more adapted than others, but in a sense where we can be that next step. We can be the ones to think outside the box and maybe the ones to think more traditionally or however whatever that necessarily relates to. But because you're right, I guess that's okay that they're thinking like that.
Yeah, and it's trying not to like, kind of a lesson for us or me specifically is not to try to make somebody do something just because it might be easier. There might be a way that you're doing something for a reason. People might look at us and think about like, why are you in New York City? It's like one of the most expensive places ever. It's loud, it's obnoxious, there's so much going on. Why are we in the area we're in? Where constantly Sam specifically is always being thought of as like a delivery boy. I'm always thought of as being a maid, and I just think that just being a little bit more open-minded, because some people might do things the way they want to do it for whatever reason, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's important because maybe those people. It feels like you're I don't know, for me personally, and maybe this is like silly, but it's like kind of like I'm doing my part. Like I hope that I can take the brunt of like future generations who maybe don't have to feel like that. You don't have to walk into a building and feel as though like they're somebody who they're not. Like you're just here to see a friend and not here to deliver like food or something. And maybe because I'm sticking through it and I'm just saying like, forget you guys because I don't like how you guys are viewing me. I'm just like, what it is, and I just hope that in the future one day they won't feel like that because there are so many people that look like us who live in the buildings that majority of like white people live in, and breaking that stereotype is something that I personally feel have a lot of conviction now because I don't necessarily feel like where I come from in my body, my heart, and my soul, and I think that that's okay because I'm doing everything I can with the mindset and the childhood that I was raised in to get back to the place that I was born from.
I keep relating things to when I go down to Peru, but it is very interesting to see this kind of, and maybe it's just my family specifically, but this like it's not necessarily okay to be emotional. It's not necessarily okay to do what you want to do or proceed with. If you're a really good artist, it's in my family, it's not seen as a good thing to pursue that. It's seen as like, why weren't you a doctor? We gave you to America. Why aren't you like something grander, like a scientist? And I guess that kind of leading back to art is I just hope that it kind of paves the way of being able to kind of do what you want to do, to be able to share these emotions, to be able to be super vulnerable, even though it's very uncomfortable, and just kind of maybe trying to make your story heard in whatever way you can, whether it's some kind of like medium like this where it's like Zoom or virtual, or doing it like with artwork, or I mean art is so broad, but just being able to get your story out there and try to keep becoming more proud of it and not relate it back to something so negative like we're trying to constantly compare. I'd really like to see ours kind of down the line being able to like look back and see like this art piece and be like, oh my God, such a dark place, or oh my gosh, that made me so happy, or kind of see this progression of feelings and emotions and where I'm at. So that kind of attention.
Yeah, and I guess I just I hope that one day Peruvian culture and South American cultures is like culturally accepted as like Asian culture or like African culture. I think that would be really cool to just have that mystique of Peruvian culture, like in the mediums of like clothing, or definitely more clothing, definitely just like more of like a broader outlook of things. Because I think that with one of the cool things I love about Asian culture, specifically Japanese culture, is that it's just so modernized. It's just so cool. Like, and I just love that, like how they're able to just capture that traditional mystique of like the Japanese culture, and just having that about Peru in New York City would just be so cool. Like it'd be so cool to see like people who like look like me, who are like just really like adapting their culture to the modern world, and being able to just walk down the street just looking like, dang, you look fresh, So that's definitely something that I would totally love to see in the future when it comes to South American culture. Just, more, accepted culturally, maybe accepted more than it is now.
Yeah, especially because going off of that, it's interesting because people are so gun ho on like this tradition of Peru, which they are, like the things they wear and things are very traditional. They're very beautiful, but it's so labeled in the back of the past, I suppose. And there's enough. I haven't seen too much room to kind of push it to the future, to push it to now, and to kind of make that like culturally aware or acceptable to do that without being like, oh, you're just dressing traditional. Like, well, how do we make it to now? How can we take these traditions and sayings and theories and everything to right now?
Yeah, because isn't that what potentially could like be a lot more beneficial to the preservation of like Incan history and culture, which is the acceptance of it in the grander scheme of audiences, and just bringing more attention to how cool and how unique the culture is, to preserve it, to maybe preserve the environment that it's around. I think that that's so important, and it all starts with just trying to figure that out. It all starts with the acceptance of just like making it like bring it out into the mainstream, to be honest, and I think that that's such a cool thing. One day in the future, I'm a dreamer, so I'll always be hopeful that that will happen.
Yeah, and to just teach it as well, to be able to.
Because that's where it'll come from, right? Like
Yeah.
to when it's out, when people are like, oh, cool, what is that?
Yeah.
oh, like this is something that like it's an improving brand. No way. Go on the website. You know, we're dedicated to trying to, you know, these are cool, like, you know, apparel, but we're dedicated to trying to preserve the environment, to preserve the language, to
Yeah.
preserve like bringing schools down there to help, you know, cultivate it, to keep it going.
Yeah.
Like, and if you buy this, you're doing your part as, you know, helping, you know, a child learn how to continue on his roots of his generation, or giving him the opportunity to do it. It always makes me feel good if I buy something that says like you gave a child like a whole water for like a year or something. Like I just love that. I love, you know, knowing that it's helping somebody else with the purchase of buying somebody's product.
Definitely making that connection and trying to just continue to teach and grow and just learn as much as we can.
I think that that's something that I would love to, you know, my daughter to see personally. It's just how, you know, he had to get a father who really pursued his dream, pursued how he felt, and, you know, always had the good intentions, and always that made decisions based on his heart and what felt right, and giving back in that way to the community and the place that gave me life is something that I'll always feel in debt to, and I'll always feel like I want to give back. You know, everything that I am now and everything that I have accomplished today, I can't not give credit to my mom. You know, didn't have the easiest life and through, you know, struggled to take care of 4 brothers and 1 sister without a father. You know, it's something that I think about a lot, and it helps push me to be a father that I never had. And so definitely keep me positive
And accountable.
and accountable for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think you said it so perfectly. I think the number one thing I think is to be able to do and feel how you want to feel about where you are from, and not let other people or other groups kind of come in and tell you how you should feel, or feel like you have to fit in with this group just because you believe maybe 1 or 2 things that they're doing. Because there's other people out there like me and Sam who feel like we get along with some groups, and sometimes some of their ways and some others their ways too. And so
Maybe that's the example we want to set.
yeah,
Just like when we follow through with what we want to do, knowing that there might be other, you know, Peruvians, Bolivians, Ecuadorians who are like, wow, like if they did it, like maybe I can too.
Yeah.
If they were accepted in a time where people didn't accept them, maybe I can too. And just feeling like, wow, like I love that. Just that just like brings a sparkle to my eyes. You know, like seriously, like just, you know, just the thought of that would just genuinely, I feel complete. Like life would be 100% totally complete if even one person just felt that for a second. I'd be like, wow, that's beautiful. Like that's so beautiful.
oh man, I can't beat that.